Neil Norton says, what are you writing at the moment? Do you ever get writer's block? What am I writing at the moment? I'm writing a project for Black Library, just about to start a Horus Heresy book, and I'm also writing my next novel for Angry Robot, which is called Monster Side, which is a huge thing, and you can look forward to next year. It's about giant monsters attacking the Earth. It's not to laugh, really. Do I ever get the writer's block? I don't know. I hope I don't ever get writer's block. Sometimes it's harder to write than at other times. I mean, I've always found it very enjoyable just to sort of get into things and write them. But and I think I have a great deal more patience or sort of endurance for just sitting down and writing thousands and thousands of words than a lot of people I know. A lot of people physically struggle with it much more than I do. But even so, there are days when your mind's not on it, and you can't really concentrate, and it becomes a struggle. Which I guess is one of the reasons I should consider writing other genres, because when you move about, you write short stories for a magic anthology or something like that, or a detective story, or whatever it is, and it gives you a fresh take on something. So it's not so much about sitting and doing the work, it's what sort of work you're doing that moves things around, and then informs back to your other work. So I think the next Gaunt novel, or the next Eisenhorn, or the next Horus Heresy novel would benefit from me completely sort of rinsing my head by doing something different. I think that's one of the reasons I've always kept doing the comics, for contrast. 2000 AD is a huge change from Marvel superheroes, is a huge change from Black Library, is a huge change, So to move between those things it keeps you creatively fresh. You've just got to remember what universe you're in at the right time, and sort of adjust yourself accordingly, sort of age level and reference and that kind of stuff. And I think I've told this story before, I have had some wonderful moments where I've been at conventions and I've had more than one fan or reader come up to me at the same time, and all talk different languages to me. One of them's been a 2000 AD guy, for instance, one of them's been a Black Library guy, one of them's been a Marvel guy, and they don't read outside their areas, so they don't know what the other people are talking about, but I know what they're all talking about, which is very odd conversations to have. I've always enjoyed that very much. And going back to that opportunity to meet people at conventions, it's like asking for questions to do something like this. You get so much feedback, so many, not so much solid ideas as to a sense of what interest people in what I do and what they'd like to see me do more of, or like to see me try. Just today, going through this stuff for the Black Library questions earlier on, there's a number of people who wanted to see me write from an alien perspective, the number of people who want to see more Iron Snakes and more Double Eagle, the number of people who want to see more White Scars stuff appearing, just as an example. People very, very keen on more cosmic stories. People very, very keen to see me try different things, different genres. And there's all stuff that goes in there, and may not necessarily come out in quite the way you're going to recognise, or indeed I would expect. But even so, it's great. So thank you for sending questions in, and thank you for coming up to me at conventions and telling me what you like, and indeed telling me what you don't like. Some of you could be a little bit more tactful, but generally speaking, it's really, really nice to hear that kind of feedback, because it does make me think. It is such a essentially solitary thing, sitting at a keyboard writing, that to get some feedback from the other side is I don't mean the other side spiritually, although that would be interesting. A lot of ghost activity in the house, by the way, recently. I should mention that, perhaps. All sorts of weird, very spooky things, including a visit to a local 1,000-year-old church with sobbing women in pews. Ooh, very creepy. Very strange. Doors opening, closing here, all sorts of stuff. I can't remember what the last one was. Oh, coins keep appearing. We've had more apports in the house. Foreign coins from countries what we have never been to. So, there you go. Mark Grudgings says, 2 years on, it's actually 3 now, Mark, but thank you. Have you been tempted to introduce your personal experiences with epilepsy into any part of your work? Has it influenced any characters in ways that we, the audience, haven't clocked onto? That's a very interesting question indeed. And in fact, it reminded me that I think somewhere down here there is another one. Anyway, very interesting question about whether the epilepsy that I suddenly found myself suffering from 3 years ago, it's nearly 3 years next month, has affected my writing in any way. And I think the answer to that, the simple answer to that, Mark, is yes, it has. Not certainly not at first in any kind of deliberate way, but just the way I know it changed the way I felt. Just in terms of sort of who I was. It was not, you know, it did change. It did change me in quite a significant way. I had to change my lifestyle in order to accommodate looking after myself with it and making sure I controlled it. But I think it influenced things like the sort of mind scrambling things that happen in Embedded. I think it affected the way the main character in Prospero Burns experiences memory, or his lack of it. Memory, nostalgia and that kind of stuff, the things that are most clearly affected by epilepsy. Certainly when I was suffering the attacks, it's now medically under control, but I remember it very clearly, that sort of sense of dislocation, of loss of short-term memory, of not being myself occasionally. And it had a long-term effect, which I've had to get on with. I treated it very, very positively. It is something I can live with very, very straightforwardly, but it has made me very much more aware of who I am, and I think it sort of hopefully unlocked a creative potential in me, because I think I'm a much more sort of engaged person, perhaps more serious, but a much more engaged person nowadays than I used to be. I think I was very sort of driven and determined and narrow before, and I'm sort of more bigger than that now, mentally speaking. So yeah, definitely Embedded, definitely Prospero Burns. But even just in some of those moments in stories like No Fear, with that sort of a sense of accelerated hyper perception, probably has. There may be many, many more instances in my work where it's appeared and I've not really been aware of it. So there. Tom, thank you for asking the question though. I hope that answered it well. Tom also asks, I've repeatedly asked you this question but have never received an answer. Well, I'm very sorry. You are by far the best author of Black Library, with that pesky ADB yapping at your heels. Therefore, I think it's only right that you write the final Horus Heresy book detailing the Siege of Terror and the confrontation between Horus and the Emperor. Can you confirm that you have been booked for this most awesome undertaking? If not, why not? If it hasn't been decided, how will it be? Will the BL authors be going on an episode of Wipeout with Richard Hammond? That's how it should be. We originally thought it would be I think I said a monkey knife fight in the car park. I think the idea of there being a final